Kuwait's Health Minister Dr. Bassel Al-Sabah announced Wednesday the recovery of more people from COVID-19. The minister said, analysis and medical examinations and tests proved that these cases were cured of the coronavirus. The official said the recovered will be shifted to the hospital recuperation ward, pending their discharge from the hospital during the next 2 days. The Omani Health Ministry Wednesday recorded 143 further cases of the novel coronavirus, taking to 2,274 the country's overall infections, including 10 deaths. The newly diagnosed cases are 42 Omanis and 101 foreigners, the ministry said, without giving a breakdown of the foreign patients' nationalities. The ministry added the overall recoveries in the Sultanate stand at 364 cases. Singapore confirmed Wednesday an additional 690 new cases of COVID-19 infections, of which only 6 involved cases in the community, while the vast majority from dorm residents. In a statement there, the Republic's Ministry of Health noted that it is still working through the details of the cases and further updates will be shared later in the day. The latest numbers bring the tally for the Republic to 15,641 cases. In a detailed statement issued late Tuesday, the Health Ministry said the number of new cases in the community has decreased from an average of 28 cases per day in the week before to an average of 17 per day in the past week. According to an independent tally, the U.S. death toll from the novel coronavirus on Wednesday exceeded the 58,220 American lives lost during the Vietnam War, as cases topped 1 million. The study said U.S. cases have doubled in 18 days and make up 1/3 of all infections in the world. The actual number of cases is thought to be higher, with state public health officials cautioning that shortages of trained workers and materials have limited testing capacity. About 30% of the cases have occurred in New York State, the epicenter of the U.S. outbreak, followed by New Jersey, Massachusetts, California, and Pennsylvania. Brazil, the South American country worst hit by the coronavirus pandemic, has registered more than 5,000 deaths from COVID-19. The health ministry announced Wednesday, pushing the toll above that of China. The ministry said 474 deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours, with the number of infections rising to 71,886. China, where the virus first emerged before spreading across the world, has recorded about 4,600 deaths. The ministry said Brazil's toll could be higher than the official figure of 5,107, as the cause of 1,156 further deaths is under investigation. Australia plans to expand screening for the coronavirus after securing 10 million more test kits on Wednesday, a measure officials said is key to sustaining low transmission rates and allowing restrictions on social movement to be eased. Australia has credited a partial lockdown and testing with bringing the rate of new infections down to below 1%. Home to 25.7 million people, it has recorded about 6,700 cases of COVID-19, the disease caused by the virus, and 88 deaths. Authorities plan to use the new supply to expand testing this week to include people without symptoms, ramping up from around 500,000 tests conducted over the past month. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's cabinet has urged Yemen's main separatist group, which has declared self-rule in the south, to abide by an agreement to end a previous standoff with the internationally recognized government. The declaration by the separatist Southern Transitional Council Sunday, which included emergency rule in southern regions, threatens to renew conflict with the government. They are both part of a military alliance formed to battle Yemen's Houthi movement, which ousted the internationally recognized government from power in the capital Sana'a in late 2014. Two months after the US and the Taliban signed a deal Washington heralded as the way to end Afghanistan's war, violence is spiraling out of control, and experts say a fragile peace process risks collapse. Dozens of Afghan security forces and Taliban fighters have been dying almost daily, with civilian casualties rising across the country as both sides ramp up operations. The insurgents have been emboldened by a deal that gave them many concessions in exchange for few commitments, fueling their surge of attacks in recent weeks. The timing could hardly be worse as Afghanistan also grapples with the COVID-19 epidemic. Joe Biden won Ohio's presidential primary Wednesday, clinching a contest that was less about the Democratic nomination and more about how states can conduct elections in the era of the coronavirus. The primary was the first major test of statewide elections via mail amid an outbreak. There were reports of confusion, but no widespread disruption. It wasn't like Wisconsin earlier this month, when voters were forced to overlook social distancing guidelines to stand in line, wearing masks to cast ballots. China announced Wednesday that its parliament will open a key annual session on May 22nd, signaling that Beijing sees the country returning to normal after being reduced to a near standstill for months by the COVID-19 epidemic. During the gathering of the National People's Congress in the capital, delegates will ratify major legislation and the government will unveil economic targets, set defense spending projections, and make personnel changes. The ruling Communist Party also typically announces signature policy initiatives. National People's Congress was quoted as saying that as the epidemic has subsided, economic and social life gradually return to normal, making it possible for the Congress to convene. According to authorities, a fire at a construction site in South Korea killed at least 25 people and injured another 7 on Wednesday. All of the victims were construction workers who had been building a warehouse in the city of Icheon, about 80 kilometers southeast of Seoul. A representative for the provincial fire department, however, said that they were still working to determine the number of casualties. Initial assessments say that an explosion occurred while workers were installing insulation with flammable material in an underground level of the warehouse, sparking a fire that spread quickly. Kuwait Petroleum Corporation said Wednesday the price of Kuwaiti oil barrel went down by $1.91 to $11.72 per barrel Tuesday, as opposed to $13.63 per barrel the day before. Meanwhile, the price of the West Texas Intermediate went down by $1.64 per barrel to $11.14 per barrel. The same case with the Brent crude, which went down by 85 cents to settle at $19.14 per barrel. European aeroplane manufacturer Airbus has posted a loss of €481 million in the first quarter of 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Airbus said on Wednesday the company's revenue dropped by 15% to €10.6 billion because of the interruptions in aircraft delivery. It posted a slump of 49% to €281 million in its first quarter adjusted operating profit. Airbus had Gaulian-Faury made no new profit forecasts for the current year because of the unclear duration and consequences of the pandemic. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said on Wednesday it will be impossible to host the Tokyo Olympic Games next year unless the coronavirus pandemic is contained. The International Olympic Committee and the Japanese government postponed the Games last month until July of 2021 because of the impact of the coronavirus outbreak. With the epidemic's worldwide infection rate climbing and experts suggesting a vaccine is still a long way off, questions are being asked about whether the huge set-piece event might need to be delayed further. Tottenham became the latest Premier League club to open their doors to players Wednesday as part of the Project Restart plan to finish the English top-flight season. The Premier League has been suspended since March 13th due to the coronavirus crisis, but there is growing belief the campaign can be concluded over the summer months. Resuming matches on June 8th is reportedly among the ideas set to be discussed when the Premier League's key stakeholders meet on Friday. That would require full training to begin on May 18th, and Premier League clubs are starting to work towards the date by giving players the option of using their training grounds. And Downing Street said on Wednesday British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's fiancée, Miss Carrie Simons, has given birth to a baby boy. Both mother and child are doing well. The boy was born at a London hospital. The couple, who have been living together in Downing Street since Mr. Johnson became Prime Minister in July, announced in February that they were expecting their first child. Politicians began sending their congratulations to the couple.